So yeah, this happened. Wow. Shema, people of the internet. First of all, I would like to thank you all for having a blast while watching my 1 day versus 10 years of playing the Stylophone. Also, I would like to thank Amosdoll Music for inspiring me to make my own version of this video. Thank you. Actually, I didn't expect it to blow up like that. I was just experimenting with a new YouTube feature called YouTube Shorts. I think that this function works sort of like alchemy in Morrowind. When it works, you can break the game in seconds. And when it doesn't, you have a lot of filler garbage. But still, I'm not a big fan of this direction because it produces quantity over quality. That's why I tried to incorporate as much stuff into my short to make it cool and, you know, worthwhile. And also, I didn't want it to feel like TikTok, which I'm not a fan of as well. But let's not talk about the bad things. Or as my favorite Polish actor once said, if a lot of people love each other, the world would be a better place to live. So first of all, I'm sorry that Metallica was so poor this year. But please don't blame me for that. I made a video of Blackened which took me 2 weeks of 12-hour-a-day work, and I think that the number here speaks for itself. To be honest, this song made me a bit anxious about my Stylophone career. Like, you know, what's the point of making a very hard, inspired, over-the-top video when something you've made in 2 hours is featured on 9gag and is like a new trend right now? Don't get me wrong, I'm very glad for the viral video and for the many new faces that are showing here. I took a little break from the Stylophone for a moment. During this time I've made a new guitar single called Fire Salamander. Yes, I love reptiles and amphibians so much that in primary school my biology teacher let me take the class for her. But hey, that doesn't mean that Stylophone is now poop and I won't play it anymore. No, just believe me that if you are sitting 2 weeks and listening to this, then you need a little break to, you know, regain consciousness, you know, keep your demons inside or just stay healthy mentally. Also, I think that those of you who just subscribed to my channel may be a bit overwhelmed because, you know, you have lots of songs to listen. So yeah, I wanted to make it short, but as usual it came out long as f***. So let's get to the questions. Matthias Presta asks, what's your name? My name is Marek, and I think that you can easily call me...
Oh, hi Mark!
Michał Nowacki asks, where did your nick come from? The answer is a bit nerdy, but, well, like everything on my channel. It was about 15 years ago. I was a big fan of the game Mafia City of Lost Heaven. I still am to this day, because it's a great game. And there was a forum of this game called Lost Heaven Co UK, I think. My first account that I ever set up was on this site, and it was called MaroMaro 1337, just like this channel, because MaroMaro was occupied. So that's the story of my nick. Macadon asks, czy tylko mi się wydaje, że jesteś Polakiem? Grand Prime asks, do you have naturally grey hair or just aging? Well, just aging naturally. Omer's Arcade Adventures asks, how tall are you? Well, as far as I know, I'm 177 centimeters tall, so I'm as high as Ozzy Osbourne. Well, here's Ozzy. Aparanko Ptacharya asks, will we have some Ozzy cameos in your covers? Which one? June Malabanan asks, what breed is your chunky floofer and how old is he/she? Well, Ozzy is actually washing himself down there, and he is a Scottish Fold long-hair cat. Frau Eimerkopf asks, hello friend, this isn't the famous Kita, is it? Well, Kita is my parents' cat, and it's a Scottish Fold with folded ears, and it's very beautiful, but it's not Ozzy. Ali Yasir asks, how many cats can you eat? Can you do a backflip? I'd never eaten a cat, and I can't do a backflip. Gowinner or Joewinner asks, apparently I'm the first one here to ask that question. How many 7-year-olds can you fight before they overwhelm you? And this has 7 likes. Wow. Well, I think that even a few 7-year-olds would overwhelm me because I'm not that strong and, well, I'm a bit of a nerd. Koziruk Deumbosch asks, how do you know English so well? Impressive. Well, thank you, man, but I think that you'll have to actually thank my parents for it, because I started learning English in kindergarten when I was about 5 or 6, so it took a long time to get here. and I had a few native speakers, so I could talk with them on, I don't know, a weekly basis. And I watched lots of Cartoon Network when I was a kid, so it made me learn it even faster. Also, I played lots of video games without the translation, and I knew what was going on there. So Bana asks, if you watched Eurovision this year, what were your favorite songs? Well, I didn't watch it because I don't have a TV, and also I think that the Polish contestant was pretty lousy, so yeah. Milo on Wheatbix asks, do you earn all of your income from music, or do you have another careers? Well, yes, Milo. After about 7 years of being dirt poor, I started earning my money from music, and I earn it to this day. Nowadays it's mostly from YouTube because, well, I can't play gigs. What's your credit card number? No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life? Dean Levering asks, maybe you can put your songs on Spotify. That's again a great question, because I'm planning to put them on Spotify. I'm just talking to a distributor. I have some positive thoughts on it right now, because earlier when I was checking it out, I thought that buying the license to a song will surpass my earnings, and that's not a cool thing. Przekaz asks, how do you play 2 pens on one stylophone? Are the stylophones modified to do that, or is just an editing trick? You mean something like this? As you've just seen, it's not an editing trick. I think it's got something to do with the DI box, and that both stylophones are plugged together in one DI box. But how does it work and what's the cause? I'm not sure, man. I call this trick stylophone tapping because it works the same as guitar tapping. Just remember, don't play 2 notes at the same time, because it will glitch out and play only one of them. See? And if I plug them out, it doesn't work. Vitas3 asks, how did you modify your stylus cable? Any tips and tutorials? Cause mine got worn from bending. As you can see, my cables are brown and blue, which means that I've changed them because they got worn out. And the only thing I can say is go to an electric technician and he will do it for you. Genuine Aspect asks, hello, which cable do I need to plug the stylophone into a guitar amp? You need a mini jack and a adapter on the second side. That's all. Itchy asks, you have played in bands? Is it possible to hear something of that online? So first of all, I've released 3 albums in my solo project called MaroMaro. These albums are on my YouTube and they are free to listen to. It's the Inter-Galactic Jaunt, Fairytales and Lullabies, Lost Tapes from Chernobyl. These 3 albums are just for you to listen. I think that I was in about 5 bands in my youth. One of them was Television, and these guys are my friends. I think that this answers another question that was given here. We've released 1 album called Nienachalny Przekaz, and it's online, you can listen to it. I was in a project called Wild Byczes. We've released 2 EPs, you can listen to them online as well. I was also playing some guitars on a project called Roughcore, but it was not a band, it was more like a project. Oh, and I played in a pop project called Smoków nie ma, which is on YouTube as well. Oh, and I'm playing in a band called Czerwone Gitary, but because of the pandemic I don't have any gigs, so that's why YouTube. I think that it's not worth talking about other bands, because for some reason I just don't want to talk about them. Mauriko M asks, Maro, when is the next album coming? Will there be guitar with stylophone? That's a great question, and it's great because I'm just planning on a new album, and the album will be more of a chill beats with guitar, with stylophone and with all of this electronic stuff. I know that I may look like a metalhead, but I like my music to be chill out and playing in the background most of the time. I think that it's because I used to listen to lots of heavy bands when I was younger, and now I just want to chill out. And for the album, I think that it will be done when it's finished. Joshua Leisner asks, which artist, if any, scare you to try? Okay, it's a great question, Joshua. I think that from the more popular artists, it will be Dragon Force, which is very hard to play on the stylophone. The solos, I think, are playable, but the riffs, the fast, picked riffs, are just impossible on the stylophone. I think that Megadeth songs are also very hard because their riffs are like solos of other bands. Maybe some faster Metallica songs are also a bit scary to try. But I think that most of them are playable. Felipe Porto asks, for the Q&A, can you imagine playing the Stylophone on stage with other musicians? I mean with other instruments, or maybe as a Stylophone orchestra, instead of 5-10 takes, 5-10 people playing simultaneously. Okay, this question was very hard to say, but it's a great question. Mainly because I have some plans for it, but I don't know if they will ever come to life, you know, because I know from experience that if you want to make a band, that's a lot of work with some other musicians and a lot of practice and, you know, lots of dedication, and not all people have the same dedication as me that I've had throughout the years, so that's why I mostly play alone. And about the Stylophone orchestra, I think that there is another person who's doing a Stylophone orchestra, and it's Mary Dangerfield, and she even asked about the Stylophone orchestra. You can ask her if you like. Kiko Casala asks, hey man, I'm really into music and I can play the acoustic guitar on a slightly advanced level, but I would really love to switch over to Stylophone. I think that you will be able to play the Stylophone with even the most basic musical knowledge. Try it. Kid Andy Jr. asks, what camera do you have? Greetings from Ukraine. Greetings from Poland, man. My camera is actually my phone, and it's a Xiaomi Pocophone F1. I think it's how you pronounce it. Okay, I love this question. J Galstar1 asks, what was your favorite car to play in Carmageddon? Oh man, this question, I think it's like a trip down the memory lane. I love Carmageddon, and I think that I will answer this question in another video about my top 5 nostalgic video games. Danarama Pajama the Lazy Game Cat asks, what games have you been playing? Now I've been playing some Metal Gear Legacy Edition, and I really love it. I love all those games and I had a blast while playing them. Jay-Z asks, how did you get good with instruments, Stylophone, guitar, etc.? Also, you make some really good content. Thank you. Well, it's just practice, man. You just have to practice a lot and maybe you'll get somewhere. Grzegosław Guitarman asks, how did you fall in love with Ibanez Iceman? It's 100% thanks to Darren Malakian from System of a Down. Fast and Poke Fury asks, 2 questions. Would you teach someone? I'd be very interested in learning to play like you. But are you asking about the Stylophone or the guitar? Because I'm willing to give you lessons on both of these instruments. And second one, do you make your own music with the Stylophone? If so, could you create specific tunes that could be used in a custom fun game? Okay, I'm not making any music on the Stylophone specifically at the moment, except my covers, of course. But if someone would be willing to pay me for a job as a music producer for a video game company, I would love to do it. The Kivster asks, thoughts on the Beatles? Well, my opinion is that if somebody doesn't like the Beatles, they don't like music. I won't even try to pronounce this username. Can you play toy instruments other than the Stylophone? Example, automaton. Okay, I think that Mr. The Real Sally G is the perfect guy for the automaton, so I won't be taking his thunder. Susie Thinks Anywhere You Go asks, what's your favorite color of the alphanumeric timetable, true or not? I checked this one, and it's false. Randall Stone asks, what's the last vacation you went on and what will be your next vacation? Well, the last vacation I went on was sitting at home and making Stylophone videos, and my next vacation will probably be the same. Yeah. Nick Brown, what's the Q&A? Okay, Nick, I think that we are on the same page here because I learned what a Q&A is just before my first Q&A. Okay guys, I think it's enough for today. Ask me more questions and I will surely answer them because I really love making these Q&A videos. I think that next time we'll meet each other on the guitar video called Fire Salamander. I think that I will take the Stylophone break a bit longer, but I think that it's needed right now because I just got myself, a bit hot-headed after the last video and I don't want it to happen again. So, if you like it, subscribe my channel and have fun, guys. That's all I want. Trzymajcie się.